Many of these spices have medicinal properties. In ancient times, most medicines came from plants. According to the ancient Indian physiological texts, the state of one's health can be attributed to one's eating habits.
Science has shown that some plants have curative powers. Willow bark is the basic ingredient for aspirin. Spices like garlic are believed to boost the immune system and help with minor ailments. Drawing from these ancient prescriptions, herbal medicine has become big business not only in India, but worldwide. Native spices and herbs are mixed in a variety of combinations by more than 8,000 pharmacies. Global demand is difficult to calculate, but herbal products in India alone constitute a billion-dollar market. Herbal medicines are distributed in more than 20,000 dispensaries nationwide. But the use of herbs and spices is only one step towards health in India's comprehensive medical philosophy. Near the sacred Ganges River at the Kripalu Bagh Ashram, I found the ancient Indian healing practices still very much alive. This ashram houses an Ayurvedic clinic that treats hundreds of patients a day. Ayurveda in Sanskrit means the science of life, which defines health as total well-being. A medical diagnosis therefore does not only focus on the immediate symptom, but on the patient's relationship with food and herbs, the weather and the seasons, and even his or her personal relationships. Ayurveda was the first system of medicine to appear in the world. And finally, after 5,000 years, this holistic approach is now embraced in the West. Yoga, which is one of the most important aspects of Ayurveda, has become very popular.
I'm here to learn what I can about Indian medicine. Since it all began with yoga, yoga's where I begin. Let's see what they can teach me.
I joined the class at a crucial point. They were just getting ready for a breathing lesson. Ancient yoga principles emphasize the importance of deep breathing and muscle control. Recent findings indicate that yoga boosts the cardiovascular system and relieves anxiety. It seemed to work. The yogic breathing exercise, though a bit unusual, invigorated me immediately.
Well, it may look simple, but I've just learned that breathing, which is one of the foundations of yoga, is a complicated business. I have a lot to learn.
Hepatitis B को मैंने ठीक किया, इसे मैं मानता हूँ.
Yoga Master Ramdev Ji took the time to tell me more. As a medical technique, yoga's goals are to restore the flow of vital energy around the body, to treat a variety of illnesses.
और इससे हमारे हार्ट के ब्लॉकेज से लेकर के कैंसर.
These old-school methods have recently had to withstand our Western benchmarks of science. Yogi Ramdev Ji thought a demonstration would best make the point. Postures and stretching appear to increase circulation to the limbs. Deep breathing induces relaxation, and with practice, you can gain control of muscles you never knew you had. While yoga has reportedly helped patients suffering from afflictions like asthma and arthritis, the long lines of people at this clinic were clearly hoping that Ayurveda could do much more.
I couldn't think of a better way to learn about Ayurveda than to become a patient of an Ayurvedic doctor. So I scheduled an appointment with Dr. Global. Hello, can I come in?
Please.
I have a prescription letter.
Yes, please sit down.
Thank you. I would like a checkup.
Okay,
I'd like a
please.
general
From
Ayurvedic
where?
checkup, please.
From where?
Australia.
Okay, I tell you what's Ayurveda.
Dr. Global explained that in Ayurveda it is all about your humours.
विज्ञान है.
Good health has to do with the balance of internal forces or doshas.
एक तरीका सिखाता है हमें.
But to begin with, Dr. Global started like any Western doctor would.
Chest, okay.
He listened to my heart and lungs.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, ठीक.
Okay.
Then he switched to Ayurveda.
First of all, I see your nails. It's
He
good.
examined the colour and texture of my fingernails and eyes, which could indicate a dosha imbalance.
Just like I have.
The pulse examination was the clincher.
My nerve.
Since 13th century Vedic texts, pulse examination is one of the oldest forms of medical diagnosis.
Pith and cough.
Each of the three internal forces or doshas pulses through the radial artery.
Body is made up.
Dr. Goval's index finger read Vaya, which stands for air and ether. His middle finger picked up Pitta, that is fire and water, and Kapha, earth and water, registered on his ring finger.
Then your nadi is completely fit now.
Thank you. Okay.
ठीक है? You are totally fit.
Oh, I'm glad to hear.
Once he had pronounced that my doshas were in balance and that I was in good health, Dr. Global taught me some of Ayurveda's little-known accomplishments.
शरीर में सम है.
It was amazing to learn that hundreds of years before European medicine, Ayurvedic doctors had already developed a remarkable range of specialties. They included psychiatry, pediatrics, ophthalmology, toxicology, gynecology, and surprisingly, surgery. As it turns out, the ancient Indians had designed surgical instruments and developed unprecedented operating techniques centuries ago. Recently, one of their ancient techniques, which was once used to repair a punishment for adultery, has become rather popular.
Leaving a single line.
Throughout India's history, even medicine has taken its twists and turns. Tracking the legacy of the ancient Ayurvedic surgeons led me to one of Delhi's largest hospitals. I had arranged a meeting with Dr. Lokesh Kumar, a plastic surgeon. Familiar with Indian medical history, he assured me that one ancient Indian invention in particular was making a lot of people very happy today.
In ancient times, the standard punishment for adultery was removal of the nose. This gave ancient surgeons plenty of opportunities to practice rhinoplasty, or, as it's more commonly known today, a nose job. And Dr. Kumar, it's fair to say that Indian doctors have been doing what you do for a very long time.
Well, this operation of rhinoplasty, it evolved in India. The earliest description, that is 600 BC, was the tissue taken from the cheek.
Right.
But the basic principle remains same.
So what you're saying is that the practice you do today is exactly the same as the ancient practice.
That's right, because the reconstructive rhinoplasty has been practiced for ages. We mark it
Except for a slightly different measuring technique, little has changed in the procedure invented by the ancient Indian surgeons.
for making the nose.
A leaf was used to measure the area to be covered. A flap of skin was dissected from the cheek or the forehead and flipped over. One side remained attached to provide the blood supply. The flap was then sutured to scarified areas on the cheek. Wooden tubes were inserted to form the nostril.
The essential technique of moving skin from one place to another is exactly the same as the ancient technique.
Well, that's right. Why we take the tissue from the forehead is because the skin here is quite elastic. And when we have taken sufficient skin from the forehead, we can actually mobilize the skin to close the defect.
So you can get a new nose and clean up the wrinkles on your forehead all at the same time.
Well, that's right. You get the forehead wrinkles removed as a bonus.
I wouldn't mind a bit of that. What most impressed me about my visit to Dr. Kumar's was the sheer antiquity of plastic surgery. For centuries, this ancient Indian idea has been a true blessing for those who desperately needed it, and for those who are merely looking for a little improvement.
As I left the clinic and looked into the faces of modern India, I could not help but think what a debt we owe to this ancient culture.